Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Today I have another very easy keto appetizer recipe for you. Today I am going to show you how to make very simple keto pizza roses. We've got Valentine's Day just coming up a few days away, and what two things say love better than pizza and roses, right? And if you want a printable version of this recipe, you can check out my website at janet'sdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this recipe and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious, low-carb keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out videos, at least every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those affiliate links, a small portion of your purchase will go to me and help support the channel. So while we do all that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Lightly spray 15 to 20 muffin cup molds with some cooking spray. Silicone ones always work best when it comes to coconut flour baked goods, but these won't be filling up the whole muffin cup, so the metal tins will be fine. Just make sure you spray them. In a large mixing bowl, combine 90 grams or around 3/4 cup of coconut flour, 15 grams or around 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 9 grams or around 1 tablespoon of instant dry yeast. This is strictly for flavor. It does nothing to help your coconut flour rise or anything. It's strictly to help the dough taste a little bit more like traditional dough and tone down a little bit of that coconut flour taste. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum or psyllium husk powder. If you don't have xanthan gum or psyllium husk powder, you can use very finely ground flax or chia seeds. This is to help give your dough some flexibility and some stretch, so that way when you go to shape your dough into the rose shape, your dough will be able to stretch and not tear or fall apart on you. So you do need to have the xanthan gum or xanthan gum substitute. If you want to, you can add some dry herbs or dry seasonings of your choice to help balance out a little bit of the coconut flour taste. I'm just putting in about a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder just to give my dough a little bit of flavor. Sift the dry ingredients all together until everything is fully combined and there are no lumps in the dry ingredients. Add 3 large room temperature eggs. If you want to keep this egg free, you can use flax or chia eggs. Stir the eggs into the dry ingredients until everything is fully combined and all the dry ingredients are moist. Add 6 tablespoons of butter that's been melted and cooled. Make sure it is cooled. You do not want to add hot butter. If you want to keep this dairy-free along with using the flax or chia eggs, instead of using butter, you can use melted coconut oil or margarine or any other dairy-free butter substitute. Stir the butter in until everything is fully combined. Add 90 grams or around 6 tablespoons of room temperature plain yogurt or sour cream. If you want to keep this dairy-free, you can use a dairy-free yogurt substitute or a dairy-free sour cream substitute. Stir everything together until everything is fully combined and a smooth dough has formed. Once this dough starts combining, you want to make sure that you stir it for a good 20-30 seconds afterwards, because you want that xanthan gum or xanthan gum substitute to start binding the ingredients together and giving it that stretch that you're going to want. So don't just stop when you see the ingredients all combined together. Give it a good extra 20-30 second stir. Scrape down the sides of the dough and push the dough to the center of the bowl. Then form the dough into a smooth ball. If you're using the flax or chia eggs, you're going to want to let your dough sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes so that it can absorb any extra moisture, and so the flax eggs or the chia eggs can start holding together the ingredients. Test the dough to make sure you have the right texture. I always tell you guys it's always important to test your dough when you're using coconut flour before you shape and bake. Once your dough's in the ball, then massage the dough in your hands just for a few seconds just to make sure that everything is holding together. Then take a small portion of your dough and roll it in your hand until it forms a smooth, tight ball. Your dough should be lightly moist, but it should not be sticking to your fingers. If it's sticking to your fingers and it feels too wet, then add small amounts of coconut flour until it does not stick to your finger and it holds its shape well. If it seems like it's too dry and pieces are falling off, then you need to add just a tiny bit of room temperature water or milk until the dough comes together and forms a nice smooth ball. Line a clean work surface with parchment paper. Then place the dough into the center of your work surface and cover it with another piece of parchment paper. Press or roll the dough out to an 8-inch long rectangle that's about a 1/4 inch thick. I have messed up shoulders, so I don't use my rolling pin a whole lot. I just use my tortilla press, break up my dough into portions, use the press, flatten it out, and then press or shape my dough portions into 8-inch long rectangles. But you can just as easily roll this into one big rectangle that's about 8 inches long. Use a pizza cutter and cut the dough into strips that are about 1 inch wide. So you'll have strips that are 1 inch wide by 8 inches long once you're all done. Measure out 63 grams or around a 1/4 cup of the pizza sauce of your choice. I'll leave a link in the description to my pizza sauce if you want to use that. Spread a very light layer of the sauce over each one of the strips. You just want this to be an extremely light layer, just enough to kind of make the dough a little bit moist. Make sure you leave some space around the edges so when you go to roll up your dough, the sauce doesn't go squishing out of the sides. In a separate bowl, combine 5 ounces or around 155 grams of shredded mozzarella cheese and 27 grams or around a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Then use your hands and just kind of mix them together. Sprinkle a light layer of the cheese over the sauce on each one of the strips. Again, you just want this to be a little sprinkle. You don't want a thick layer. You don't want the cheese oozing out the sides of your pizza roses. And measure out around 8 ounces of thin pepperoni slices and layer around 6 to 8 pepperoni slices onto each strip. Just start at one end and place another pepperoni next to that pepperoni all the way until you reach the end of your strips. Make sure when you are layering the pepperoni slices that you're lining up the bottom of the pepperoni with the bottoms of your strips. The tops of the pepperoni slices should be hanging above the strips. These are going to look like your petals on your pizza roses. Also, when you are layering the pepperoni strips, make sure that they are overlapping each other just a little bit on the sides. Keep the strips on your parchment paper and cut the parchment paper so that you can roll each one of the strips individually. That parchment paper needs to be there because that's going to help steady your dough while you are rolling the pizza roses up. Take one strip at a time and grasp the piece of parchment paper that's closest to you and use the paper to guide the dough and roll it up tightly over the pepperoni. Make sure as you are rolling this, it stays in line and it stays tight, and make sure that the dough stays smooth at all times. If it starts cracking, just push it back together and rub the cracks out. Otherwise, after it's done baking, your dough's going to be cracked and you're going to have your cheese and pepperoni seeping out the sides. Make sure also as you are rolling this that you keep the pepperoni sticking above the top so it can look like the rose petals once it's done. Once the pizza rolls are all rolled up tight, place them into your prepared muffin cups, then bake at 375 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes or until the dough is golden and the edges of the pepperoni are slightly crisp. Once the pizza roses are done baking, remove them from the oven. Allow them to cool in the cups for around 3 to 5 minutes or so they can firm up a little bit and so you won't burn your fingers. After 3 to 5 minutes and they've firmed up a little bit, remove the pizza roses from the muffin cups. You can either transfer them to a wire rack and let them cool to room temperature and eat them at room temperature, or you can serve them warm. I usually serve these on a lettuce leaf, so the lettuce leaf kind of looks like the leaves of a rose bush. All right, so this bad boy has cooled a little bit. You can eat these at room temperature or warm. I've let mine cool to pretty much room temperature. So here is the best part. Let's see what this tastes like. Yummy. I just decapitated a rose. Oh no! But it's tasty. It's a tasty rose. That's the tastiest rose I've ever eaten. The only rose I've ever eaten. Good stuff. So you can eat these immediately. If you do have any leftovers, allow them to cool completely. Then store them in an airtight container in your refrigerator for 3 days or in an airtight container in your freezer for up to 3 months. Eat and enjoy. And that's the recipe of the day. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.